I did call, it's Karen, what's her name, Katie Kraus?
Katie Kraus?
Yes, I have a friend Karen Kraus. I
Oh,
get it.
Katie Kraus, yeah.
I did, and I called her, and I had emailed to the principal and the superintendent, and around. But the superintendent said it was all right with utility bills and my tax bill for the school to allow me to register the child. And the school said, can we have that in writing? Because it's
What?
the school board that requests that, but
The school board and.
the Rollinsford School Board requests that if you are registering a child
Yeah,
at Marshwood, that you get a letter on town letterhead that says that you are a resident.
every child has to do that.
Well, yeah, and
In the middle of the year.
Only children who hadn't been part of Summersworth
I think that didn't go over.
didn't go over.
Yeah,
So
like-
anybody new.
Right.
Now, this is last year was the last year, right, so anything in September, that last group, so anybody going forward would
Right.
probably have to do
Well,
it.
yeah, but
Well,
like,
what
when your
happened-
daughter gets there, she'll be coming right through, so they
Right, so
won't
she
need
won't
it.
have to do it.
And Zoe
Yeah.
had gone to Rollinsford before, but she'd been out of district.
But what ended up happening is a few, I don't know how long ago, one of the select boards had emailed Marshwood requesting that they not take utility bills.
What?
Katie Kraus found it.
A
Katie
select
found
board
that.
did?
No, school board.
Oh, I was
Oh,
gonna
the
say,
school board.
good
Oh.
lord.
The school board requested somewhere along the
Overstepping your
line.
bounds. School board,
Well-
okay.
I can understand, I don't know, utility is, well, you'd be a renter though. Oh, you'd be the owner but renting it to somebody else, is that what the reason is?
No, they wanna know you're
You
here.
could be paying for it if you rent.
You could.
You're still a resident if you rent. We gotta get started, folks, at 6:30, so.
It's a kerfuffle that people.
Certainly doesn't seem right to me, Liz, and I'm sure you went through that.
No, that's, I'm gonna get back to the school board and ask them to figure out what it
We
is
will,
they need.
6:30.
My lucky day.
We will call the meeting to order of August 13th Select Board meeting. First order of business is the August 6th minutes, and I didn't get a chance to read them today, I'm sorry. So why don't
I
we-
did, but they
You
were.
most certainly did,
No, I did not have a chance to read them today. Okay,
but you made edits to them.
I did not make any edits.
Oh, yes, you did.
To August 6th? I did the week before. I didn't do anything just today. I didn't go into them,
Oh.
I promise. So I was
Well, can we
wait-
do,
Huh?
can we do August sixes? We hadn't done that yet, right?
August 6th was last week, so we're gonna table them until next week so I have a chance to read them.
Which one did you do?
July 23rd.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
we
have-
only one behind? I thought we
We're not behind at all.
I thought we were
No.
the one
Now we
before.
are.
We will be after tonight, because I didn't have a chance to read them today. Community input.
I wanted to talk about something that happened with a town employee, and I don't know if that is like open session, closed session, whatever. So I'll give you a minute to think about that.
It depends on what you want to talk about, I suppose. If it's a, is the employee here to defend him or herself? I don't know what it's about, so I only see one, and so I don't want to call him out, it's not about him. Okay, so then, why don't we do this? Is it a complaint?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we're gonna do it in non-public session.
Okay,
Okay, it could have impact on his or her reputation,
Yep.
whatever, so.
that's
We
what I
will
thought.
go,
Motion to go into non-public
or personnel
or
issue.
personnel
I'll
issue?
second that. I would have to do a roll call. Denise?
Yes,
Mike, yes. We're in non-public session to deal with a personnel issue. You don't have to go anywhere, but everyone else does.
Okay.
Mine's off.
All right. You know how to turn that thing on? Okay, thank you.
Get the door on why.
Got a full house now. Any other, the select board came out of non-public session at 7:52. Is there any other community input? Seeing none.
6:52.
What did I say?
I said
Oh,
6:52.
I'm accelerated time, sorry, 6:52, you're absolutely right.
Okay, two purchase orders. The first one, number 1459, made out to U-Haul to install a 2-inch receiver and a quick connect wiring on the new vehicle, so we can have a vehicle now to tow the utility trailer and the message board sign.
Yeah.
And that is $354.90, and that will come out of the equipment account.
Can I just like so move it? Or do I have to repeat it?
I would just read the,
All right.
the purchase order number and who was doing it in the amount.
PO 1459, U-Haul for $354.90.
Second. So, I'm sorry, it's coming out of where, chief?
Equipment account.
Equipment.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. What's today? 13.
Today's 13th?
Oh, okay.
Purchase order number 1454 to Two-Way Communications to install the e-ticket system in Cruiser 72 and 73. I've got $500 here, but it's probably really gonna be more, around $400, but in case they find something wrong. So for no more than $500, and that will also come out of the equipment line item.
This wasn't, I'll let you move it first,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about it.
Oh, sorry. I move purchase order 1454 for Two-Way Communication for install the e-ticket system. $500.
Second.
What's
This was-
e-ticket?
Go ahead, you can ask your question first.
E-ticket is the equipment that we got from the state. We got 2 last year, so the officers, they have the scanner in the car now, so they just scan your license, and Omeki prints out the ticket, and it shoots it out to Concord right away, and shoots it out to the court and whatnot. So the day of the officers handwriting tickets in the future, it's diminishing. So
Maybe it would be.
So you can actually see what it says, and it doesn't get lost,
I don't know there.
it doesn't get lost in the mail on the way to Concord, right? All the wonderful things that could have happened, and this was an anticipated expense. so.
yes, yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And not much of a defense if you can actually read the ticket, right? Without filled out wrong.
Well, the courts have ruled that officers are human, they can make mistakes on the ticket, so. Well, this is not a crucial one.
Right.
I'm not sure if I mentioned this a couple weeks ago I was here, but we did take possession of the new car, and it's at Two-Way, getting the equipment installed now. So we anticipate maybe getting it back Friday or next week.
Okay, great.
So,
We saw the new piece of equipment over here. Now that I exactly see where it goes, that shouldn't be an issue with snow. The
no,
air conditioning.
Oh, I
no,
didn't
that
see
should be
that.
all set, yeah, no issues whatsoever.
Should be well protected there, I would think.
Yeah, yeah, it's, we'll have it back from everything. That's all that I have, anything for me?
Budgeting, go ahead. No,
Did you have something?
I do, unfortunately.
Go ahead.
So, budgeting, we have found that we may be deficient in one other line, or for insurance, which affects all the departments. It's for like health insurance. We may need to find an additional $3,000. So, just
Is that total or?
be
per
forewarned,
department?
not per department,
Oh,
total,
okay.
so,
All
be
right.
forewarned, that's all I want to repeat it, so.
Yeah.
It goes across all the
Well, I
departments,
just
so.
gave you 25,000.
I know, so,
I'm sure it could be worked out someplace, so, yeah.
okay, just want to give everyone a heads up, but that's
Sure.
all I had,
Okay. I just
all the
have-
great news.
Yeah.
Better news. I just want to know, what is our next plan with the police station? I know that, I've driven around town, I can't find a whole lot of land. I don't know what to do now.
Well,
As
I
in,
think we
what's
should
our
have a
next
meeting
step?
and really discuss it and say, hey,
That's what I'm thinking.
are we done as a committee and leave it up to the select board to do something, or should we investigate a little bit further to see what needs to be done? You
Okay.
know, so.
Do you know, would you have an
I
idea
don't have
of
any
what?
magic 5-acre parcels of land either, so, sorry. If I did, I would have already built up my own house, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's really, because we wanted to stay in, well, on this side of Route 4, I'm assuming, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And your contact on that land that you might have tried to do a switch of?
I stopped by the house, this person does not have an answering machine, believe it or not, and I stopped by the house twice last week and they were out.
Okay,
And I've also spoken to I'll mention it at our meeting before I
okay.
mention it here, so.
Yeah,
You're gonna set
that's
up another
okay.
meeting then?
I'm gonna set up
Yeah.
another meeting.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right,
All right, perfect.
because we just need to do something quickly.
Yeah,
to-
yeah.
Okay, all right. I will take care of it.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
All right,
night.
thank you.
You too.
Good night.
Chief Rutherford. Haven't seen you in a while. Could be a good or bad thing.
It's a good thing. I don't know, I was here not too long ago. Just one order of business. I have a copy of this for each of you. The fire department is going to receive an award.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
That's the state's annual, as it says there, awards.
Oh,
banquet.
sure, yeah.
So,
It's great.
yeah, it's in September, so we will be headed down there. There's 4 members of us that
So,
have participated in this particular call.
that's what I was gonna ask you, what was the, what's
Well,
on here?
they are very vague about it. and
Okay,
I kind of have an inside scoop as to what it was.
okay,
There was a mutual aid response in the city of Dover.
uh-huh,
It was back in November. It was for a woman that had scaled out on the General Sullivan Bridge and was threatening to jump into a river.
yeah,
So we went there as a mutual aid response, and our members got involved in some of the rope rescue needs that they had to do and some of the other support functions on scene. Even though it doesn't say that in the letter, I had a discussion with Assistant Chief Haas over there, and he kind of said that that's probably what's gonna happen, so.
okay.
Because of our involvement and the abilities of our personnel, we've been chosen to also receive the award.
I was gonna say, I think we both would really like to be there,
It's a Monday
but
night.
it's a Monday night, so
It's a Monday night.
I apologize for that we won't be able to be there, but,
Yeah.
although we can always cancel a meeting, right?
Oh,
Like
okay.
2 of us, but, one of us will go and we won't have a meeting right now.
This will be my 4th trip for this type of event there.
Yeah,
I was there twice, City of Dover for life-saving rescues that I was participating in. The town of Rollinsford Fire Department also got one of these 4 years ago when the Miami
yeah,
burned.
yeah.
So I'm not new to this, this is kind of getting.
Well, I'm sorry that we
I
can't be
don't wanna
there,
say
you
routine,
should be there,
but
you should be
it's
there
a-
to help honor you, but I'm
It's,
sorry
it's,
we
it's
can't.
a pretty big show and they
Yeah.
do it well, and it's just not for the members that are gonna get, with this one, but they go through a series of 4 or 5 different awards, and it's very formal on how they want the presentations done and whatnot, so it'll be enlightening to some of our members, because I think a lot of the members are gonna go
Mhm.
in support of the,
Oh, that's great.
of the one involved. So, with that being said and shown with that, what's coming up is, some of the members needed to update some of their uniform components, because you have to wear a Class A uniform to
Sure.
participate in this event, so.
Mhm.
Some of them have already gone, and we needed to get some other updated information, so, components to people's gear and uniforms and whatnot. So I have a purchase order, number 1434, the Huntress uniforms, and it's for like 6 or 7 guys that need various components to get things done,
Okay.
updated, so, like I said, some of them are gonna get, new, jackets and whatnot, so. With all the needs and what we got going on, this will come out of the uniform line,
Mhm.
which is plenty of money still in our account, to Huntress for $750 for all the needed uniform upgrades for this event.
Okay, purchase order 1434, is that not to exceed $750?
Correct.
Not to exceed $750 for department uniform needs, coming out of the uniform account for Huntress uniforms.
It probably will be less, but that's why I use that number.
Second that, so,
The work is to be less than that.
Yes.
so what does the Rollinsford Fire Department's Class A uniform look like?
Same as anybody else's.
So just
It's a
navy blue and
double-breasted-
black jacket?
Yeah, it's a black, double-breasted, we've got slacks and polished shoes and.
And we provide all the pieces of the.
No, actually, what's happening with this right here and some of this, 2 of the members need.
I'm not opposed to it, I'm just
No,
wondering.
no, I'll be totally open. 2 of the members need Class A uniforms.
Okay,
And because we were all chosen in this, we're splitting it, it's gonna be $460 for them. The department will pay 40% for the uniform.
okay, well, that's, okay.
Yeah, I'm not footing the whole bill.
Well, I wasn't sure, I
It
mean,
would have
if
been
it-
close to $1,200.
I,
And I'm like,
I'm sure they're very expensive, so, and
yeah, they're close
I
to.
figure for people that put their lives.
With all the
on line,
components,
buy
because
them
you
a pair
need a
of
belt
pants.
cap, you need the shirt,
Sure.
you need the coat, you need the pants, you need
Right.
the shoes, you need the belt, you need the hardware, you need the brass, and you need everything, just boom, 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 and I start looking at the prices and whatnot, so I had a discussion with the members, and I said, the department will pay 40% of it, which is, a fair amount for them to not have.
So,
to do.
City of Dover, did they provide you a uniform when you,
Yes.
everything?
Yes, it was provided by them. Didn't cost the member, most
Right.
career departments do that.
Right, I'm just wondering, so this is just another thing, I want people to recognize that not only are these people risking their lives potentially for us, they're also paying for the majority of their uniforms.
They are.
So I mean, I think that we should recognize that too,
Yeah.
really, it's,
They are paying,
I mean, I
Well,
think it's
most of the time
generous
they
that we're
pay
paying
all
for
of
part of
it
it,
because
so.
this is a special event.
that's the only reason that I
Yeah.
kind of made that
So,
back
okay.
and.
All right, I wanna
For
make
that
it
reason.
sure,
Yeah,
I understand it, so.
Yeah,
so, I've never heard of this company, are they cheaper than Ben's or the one in Maine? They are, okay.
It's in Manchester.
yeah, we've used them before, they came here and we've stayed with them.
Okay.
The same comparable thing at Ben's, what these guys are getting is roughly in the 480 range.
Mm-hmm,
Ben's is over $600.
yep, that's what we paid. Yes, we did.
And it's probably,
Twice.
yeah, it's probably even more than that now,
Yeah.
so we've kind of shied away from Ben's.
Yeah,
This guy's been doing this now for like 5 years, and he's kind of an upstart, but he's got the Manchester contract and some in Bedford, some of the local around there, and because he came out and reached out to us, I just wanna keep throwing the business his
Sure.
way.
no, that's
And he
good to
treats
know.
us, he treats us well, so.
Yeah,
There
okay.
is some savings involved in dealing with that proprietor.
And there's enough money in your uniform line, you said, no problem there?
Yes, there is, there's plenty still left over.
Just what I wanted to hear. You may have heard about insurance costs,
I did.
overruns. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye, opposed? All right. Again, please make sure you tell the members of your department how sorry we are we can't be there. But I really would like
Pass
to be
that
there.
along, watch the Channel 9 news, because
I
I'm sure
will.
it'll be there,
I will.
it's on there.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It's on there.
one sheet takes and one
They
sheet
cover
doesn't,
that
sorry.
in a big way.
Can I have a signature?
Any,
Little fireworks?
Mm-hmm.
anything else for us tonight, or?
No, I guess the other question I have is, I understand now you need to come up with money for insurance, so what are you looking to, are you
Well,
looking to go boom, 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 the 3 departments, or how are you looking to do it?
No, I think what I've asked Caroline to do when she let me know about this morning, I wanted to take a look at the actual expenditures up to date and look where she thinks there might be some movement, and then I'm gonna come to the department heads and have a conversation with you, because I don't want you to, if you have plans, and obviously I'm not gonna say you got money in your hose line, we're gonna take your hose money, because I do understand that you plan towards the end of the year and
Yeah,
buy these
yeah.
things strategically, I get that. So, I'm gonna have her come up with a couple of suggestions for us, and then I can bring to you, and to the chief, and to, George has already, agreed to some money for, other projects that happened
Mhm.
the last couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So I don't know if there's any
I
wiggle
don't
room
see
there
that
still, but,
as an issue within
but-
the budget.
okay, but I wanna give you all a heads up, I
Yep,
don't
no,
want to spring this on
appreciate
you, so.
Appreciate that.
I know you do all a great job trying to manage your budgets, so.
Kinda understand how I do mine anyway, it's kinda, some of it's front loaded, but most of it's, we get it near the
Yeah.
end, just to make sure that I don't have issues
Yeah.
that I can't be prepared for.
Yeah.
Can I ask a procedural
We
question?
under budgeted apparently. Anyways, I'm learning all about different spreadsheets that we have.
When this is a not to exceed, and he's giving it to me now to give to Caroline, are you gonna be bringing the invoice after the fact to her and backs it up? Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yep.
So we're authorizing you to spend not more than.
Authorizing to send, so you're going in there, they're gonna charge it, and then they're gonna turn around and bill the town, okay. That's all I need to know, because sometimes you have invoices already,
Yeah, sometimes I do.
okay.
This one here, because they went in and got measured, and these aren't gonna be ready for a few weeks. I
Okay.
wanted to submit this now, so we can just get the thing all ironed out.
No problem, just wanted to make sure. I
Yep.
understood.
You're right, yeah, a lot of times I come in and know exactly what I'm up.
Exactly.
This one is still, you know, what
Yep.
components everybody needs, and some of their pricing still to get done, so. But
All right.
I'll give you that. That's all I got.
I would thank you
That's it,
very much.
okay.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Have a quiet rest of your evening.
Yes.
And week. All right, next we have town administration, unless I missed someone coming in, okay. Town administration, town hall portico, I want to leave, select board vacancy, I skipped right over that. The notice has gone out,
Mhm.
I asked Caroline, we haven't received anything.
I didn't get anything.
I haven't received a call or anything.
No.
So, here's hoping. Someone would like to help out, I would much appreciate it. Budgets, town hall maintenance portico, I am waiting to hear back from another source. I have a sneaking suspicion that it, given some of the budgetary constraints, that we're discovering we may or may not have money for, so, but again, we need to get the right estimate. Transition plan, in light of the news that I received today about not budgeting enough for the actual cost of insurance,
Mm-hmm,
I'd like to wait another week if we could.
mm-hmm.
All right. I'm not trying to pass the buck, because there's no place to pass it, but we, I think until we get a real handle on that, we shouldn't be spending anything else on anything else, so.
Mm-hmm.
Residence tax, budget prep, inventories, for July, August dates, and when the state sends requests to print them. So by budget time, we need to decide whether or not we're gonna keep the residence tax. In inventories, we need to let the state know, as soon as they let us know whether or not we wanna print them, which should be by the end of this month. I don't know what your thoughts are, I know my thought, at least for right now, the inventories are useless. If we're not getting any information from them, I also found out that we have to keep them forever. We're not allowed to get rid of them. So if you go upstairs, there are several boxes up in, where are we? The room right above us, stacked almost to the ceiling. Those are inventories that we have to keep forever, according to the state. So if we're not doing anything with these things, I think we need to reprioritize and figure out where we're gonna get that revenue from, because I think it's a waste of time. And all you're doing is penalizing people because they forgot to send in a piece of paper, which is unconscionable to me if we're not actually doing anything with it. It'd be one thing if we were actually using these things for something, you're penalizing someone for not sending you a useless piece of paper. Not you, I mean, us, we are, so that's where I'm coming from, but.
I guess I'm okay with the inventory thing,
Yeah.
because I kind of agree, and we're only getting the revenue because someone has made an error, and it isn't a guarantee that you're gonna have that revenue if everyone turned them in, that's. what-
People actually remember. Yeah.
So, I'm prepared to go forward with the inventory to just stop that.
Okay,
I'm not convinced 100% on the residence
Residence
tax
tax.
yet, though.
yeah, I haven't come around on that one yet either, so. And so, if you haven't, and if I had, doesn't matter anyways, because it's not happening,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But we agree on the other one, so.
Well, I'll make a motion that we cease
The inventories,
to do the inventories, effective, what, it would be for, because next time it would be for.
2019, right?
Well, no, I don't want to do 2019, so we're gonna stop them immediately. Right, because the other ones are already done, yeah. So I'll make a motion, because then you don't want 19 to come in,
Right,
so.
right, so, let me just think about it though for a second. Make sure that's how we want to do it. I don't wanna, so, we're planning on doing away with it moving forward, right? We agree on that.
Yes.
So it's, the next time they would be due would be April 15th of 2019.
Correct.
So, I wanna make sure if there are folks that didn't pass that turning them in this year, some have already paid their penalty, some people haven't maybe. So I don't wanna penalize the folks that already paid and the folks that may not have paid yet. So we need to figure out whether or not we will just suspend them for the upcoming tax year. I think is probably the best way to do it. That way we don't jeopardize any revenue that still may be coming in for this year.
We're going to not pursue 2019 inventories, not 2019.
Yeah.
So, because they have to be ordered this month.
Right,
So we're not going to pursue, continuing to do inventories for 2019's year.
fine, I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor? Unless we want to talk about it some more, sorry.
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, the ayes have it. We will suspend or eliminate rather the use of state property inventories
Mhm.
beginning with the 2019 tax season. All right,
Okay.
so there's that, and we will table the residence tax portion till a date uncertain.
Okay.
If that's okay?
Yep.
Okay. Concom fund management, I had Caroline leave this on here as a placeholder. The treasurer, Vern, and I, and Caroline met last Tuesday, I think it was. And he is reaching out to citizens and reaching out to the former chair of the Conservation Commission, who, I think I heard today, Vern heard back from the bank that he was the only signator, the former chair. There was no one else. So like the treasurer, no one had any sort of oversight over this fund, so, the savings account, that is. So, that's not a good practice. So Vern's, the treasurer's in the midst of trying to rectify this with the bank, so.
I
working
saw
with
his,
us.
I saw his one email to them,
Yeah,
looking for.
I guess they
additional
called him, they didn't
advice.
email
Oh,
him
okay,
back, so,
okay.
is my understanding. So, we're still working on it, but, so I want to do that on as a placeholder for now, because it hasn't been finalized yet. A transfer station revised ordinance, we have a hearing next Monday night at 6 PM right here. Table with a smoking ordinance on town property, I think mostly the transfer station. Unless you want to discuss it tonight, I don't think, I'm not prepared to present anything, so, okay, and I'm happy to table that. I actually just love John as a placeholder, I don't want to lose sight of it, but recreation, I have budget update, but unless it's something, I'm sure there might be other things I want to talk about too, but.
Really not gonna, probably don't have anything more than what I said last week. There's a whole bunch of bills in here to pay, so, what I received from Dee, I don't know if it will contain all of these invoices that I just signed.
Okay,
It's all the transportation invoices.
okay,
So, I think I wanna wait until these get in and have a conversation with Caroline, and then we can kinda go over and
okay.
give you
So
a
we
review
look-
of that. We are gonna be over
Okay.
budgeted,
We will be over, we'll be in the red, is that what you're thinking?
yeah, yes, I
Okay.
told you that a couple of times, Suzanne didn't get that either when I said.
No, I know you've been
Oh,
saying, I just wanna make sure
yeah.
I understand what you're saying now.
Oh,
No, I get it.
yeah,
So
we're definitely
They
gonna
will
be
be over
still in the
budget,
red,
okay, I
yeah.
gotcha. One of them was gonna be over and one was gonna be under, right? Is that
Right,
what I
but the
understood?
net of it is probably about $2,000,
That's $2,000 over,
yeah,
or under,
short,
depending on your.
short.
We're depending on your perspective. Okay, okay.
Team was positive and Camp Raleigh was in the negative, and so when you
Well, that's
let the
funny,
two
'cause it
of
was the other way
them.
around for the longest time.
Oh, Teen's been, well, yeah, they had a lot of extra at the end of, or, because it remained open for longer than Raleigh did,
I got you.
so they got more people signed up, but, so they're kind of putting buses on,
Gotcha.
even though you net them and they're gonna be
Yeah.
together. They wanna kind of see where it falls.
And this
but,
is the last week, right? So-
Yes, yeah, and so, yeah, and then we're gonna meet next Tuesday?
The 21st.
The 21st, we're gonna have our meeting
Okay,
and kind of just really go over what went good, what went bad, and what can we do better next year.
battery,
So-
spending over your budget.
Yeah, that's gonna be one of my things.
Okey dokey, so,
But
okay.
all in all, I think it was a positive experience.
Is Caroline gonna be part of that conversation, did you say?
She's not on the committee.
Okay, and you'll let her know
I would
as
like her to
soon
be
as-
there. I
As
don't
soon
know.
as, well, and you let her know as soon as you can about what the dollar amount is, just email, so we can
I
add it to
want,
the.
I want her
running
to
total.
get what they have and they
Okay.
see what she has and
Okay,
so Dee and her work closely together with
Okay.
Dean, Nehawk, are working close together all the time. So
Okay.
they are,
So
she
they
is
have
totally in the
information.
loop of where
Okay.
we think we are and she is, so.
okay. Well, I just found out about a under, estimate for insurance apparently, that wasn't based on actuals from the year before, so.
You mean rec?
No, no, no.
Oh, just in
Insurance,
general,
so-
oh, okay, okay.
So this just sort of adds to my anxiety. so-
Yeah, no, but she's been kept in the total loop,
Okay.
with either with me or Dee, so.
Okay. Also though, you know, while we're talking about budget things, I
Mhm.
should have added on the top, I'm sorry. We may be okay because we may have actually, when we revised the budget 3 weeks ago now maybe, with town hall electrical, I'll be interested to see what the fix is, with, Bob had done with the air
With the,
conditioning.
yeah,
What that may or may not have done to it, so, but,
unfortunately, you're on the downside of AC and all of that kind of stuff,
yeah.
so it should go down anyway.
Right,
So you
well,
don't
exactly,
really know
right.
what
I mean,
the true
so,
picture is.
so it may not be all doom and gloom, but we won't know for a little
Mhm.
while longer, but, so stay tuned, I guess. And so we will hold off on the rest of rec until after your next Tuesday meeting.
Mhm.
Filing plans for the planning board. We had talked about, we didn't talk about this last week when the tax collector was in. I did have a conversation with her though, and she is willing to go back to filing plans, for the planning board, you know, which she had been doing for a while, and then, stopped. But she's willing to do it again. So I was gonna work out the details tomorrow night with the planning board.
Okay.
As long as we're okay, because she's our employee, with her
Mhm.
doing that, it would, all the costs would be offset by fees that
Mhm.
people have to file, so there shouldn't be any cost to the town. But we just gotta figure out the details about when she would go and that sort of thing. It would be as needed, it wouldn't be that,
Mhm.
so. We haven't had too many plans to file, but as long as we're okay with that,
Mhm.
as her employer, so. And I will have more of an update next week on that one, so we'll keep it on the calendar, or the agenda rather. Shady Lane, there was a Shady Lane upgrade. I ran into the owner of it's number 110 Rollins Road, who got a subdivision approval pending, certain, qualifications met, from the planning board. And one of them is, having to upgrade, Shady Lane, to the standards that the select board approved. So, gonna be working with Tom to, what I would like to see happen is have the owner come in and have Tom come in, Tom Clark, that night, so we can discuss, and then what needs to be, needs to happen. We would have to give formal approval as a select board, because it's a town's road, to do any improvements on a road. So we would need to do that. And what I'd like to have some sort of written agreement, so we understand, so there's no miscommunication.
Mhm.
So there has been a lot of miscommunication with this project. So it would be in black and white, this is what has to happen, and it will have to be approved and certified by the town's engineer,
Mhm.
which is typically, we contract with Civil Works, I think is what they're called, over in South
South
Florida.
Rock.
They come out and they certify that it is up to our standards.
Okay.
But, so that's gonna be happening in the next couple of weeks.
This didn't happen beforehand?
What's that?
All these negotiations weren't
well,
done when he first was coming in?
Well, you can't, because there had to be, you had to go through the planning process first. And ultimately, in the end, I mean, it's a crapshoot, I mean, it really is. The select board doesn't, even if the planning board and zoning board give approval, and it's on a class 6 road, we can still say, no, we're not signing a building permit, so you're out of luck. I don't think that, I mean, that would be done for, well, it would be done for any reason, but mostly for like safety reasons, like you can't get a fire truck or an ambulance or a police cruiser, like you've got this huge incline or, you know, huge ditch or something they're going through. This is, not that far in, but I think of on Skeleton Road, the house that's down there. It's so far in that if the person that has that property now were coming to us, I can't imagine we would say yes to a building permit, because it's so far in the woods. This doesn't seem to be the case. We had someone in 2 weeks ago now, was it now? Was it 3 weeks ago that were, I don't know if, I'd have to go and look at that property, but I don't know, that could be the same situation as Skeleton Road, I don't know.
You mean the one off of
Fresh Creek, isn't that where it is?
Bear Road?
Yeah. I mean, that could be the same situation as, like, the Remet property down here on Skeleton Road, like way in the woods. I don't know, I haven't walked it to look at it, so. But, and so those are some of the reasons you could just say no. I mean, you could still go through this entire process. I don't know if this project is necessarily that, but we won't know until the road is taken care of, so. But anyway, so that's coming. I just wanted to be aware of that, and I want Tom to be here as part of that process, because I don't want any misunderstandings.
Okay.
I want, like I said, there has been a number of misunderstandings. People just not connecting the dots, I guess, sometimes on this project, so I don't want that to happen again. All right, transfer station post-closure report. There's nothing to report. It's still there, apparently. No one dug it up. So we're trying to, we'll give a brief update. We're trying to reconnect with the person that now is saying that we have to do this, because Caroline has talked to 2 different people now at DES, and have gotten 2 different answers, so we're kind of back at the drawing board again.
Okay.
That's why I want it left on there. There's nothing new to report, but I don't want to lose sight of it. Town administration, standing items, board member activities. What do we have going on this week?
Nothing.
Nothing. You're lucky.
2 in a row.
2 weeks in a row. I've got planning board tomorrow night, so we'll be here at 7 o'clock. And we've got several things on the agenda, so it should be interesting. Building permits. I think there are a couple in here. What am I supposed to do? Did we not read these anymore? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay, well, we have 2 building permits tonight, one on Highland Road and one on, they're both for the same people, so no, they're not. Different addresses, sorry, on Highland Ave, so. Okay, Mr. Clark has reviewed them. Permit 2018-080 is for $125.
Which is it? I'm gonna write it.
125, sorry. I figured it's easier for your notes if I just at least read the number and how much it is. The second is 2018-081, and it's $275, also reviewed by Mr. Clark. Did I click off, or did you check it? Should make sure I checked off permit granted, please. Poor people.
Got it?
Thank you. I put the expiration date on there, but not,
It expires 8/13 of 18?
nope, it doesn't.
Yes, it does, according to that.
It does not. I promise you. Gotta get it done quick, you have until midnight, no, sorry. Thank you, Denise.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna expire on June 30th, 2019.
Okay.
We usually give them a year, or thereabouts, a little less in this case, but they can get an extension if they need to. And you got the second one, Salman?
Mhm.
Okay. And the only other thing, whoa, what do we have in here? Current use applications. Please sign
We didn't sign
all
it.
8
Wait a minute, we didn't
applications.
sign this.
Out the pasture, quick. I scribbled.
Thank you.
Ooh, oh, thank you. Okay, so, Chad has reviewed and approved the attached current use applications. Please sign all 8 applications on page 2, step 7, so they can be recorded. And Andrea has been kind enough to make sure I don't screw it up, and I put little sign it here stickers. It's nice of her. I'll do my best, not screw it up. Okay, the first is, 46 Old, do we read the name of the, 46 Old Mill Lane. And we will approve it. Typo for name. This time I'll write 813, how's that?
Mm-hmm.
Page 2, step 7, there it is, and it's, what's that, 25 acres, so it certainly qualifies.
And we all have to sign it?
Yeah, we each have to sign it. The next is, oh, it doesn't have an actual, it's off, it just says off of, River Road, it's, Southeast Land Trust, so it's, does not have a, it doesn't have a, an actual street address, so it has the parcel and everything. So, should make a note of that, so, I guess under notes. Next is 27 Scoutland Road. Oh, I didn't read you the number. How many acres is it, just for the record? It's on the second page, I think. It could be on the first page, but I think it's on.
Acres in parcel is 72.73.
But we put in the current uses on the back there. Just so it's-
23.34.
Okay, just for the record now, okay. The next one, was 27 Scoutland Road, and it is 16 acres going into current use. Oh. Helpful to if I signed, I checked off the box too. She thought I would screw it up. Next is 161 Clement Road. Say 202 acres. Clement Road. 202 acres. Oh, good for them. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'll make sure I'm reading the map right, sorry, 202 acres.
On Clement Road?
That's what I said, that's like, where, but you can see the map and see where it is, so. And we have, oh, we're getting to the corner, to the end here, we only got a couple more. I lied, we got 3 or 4 more. 161 Clement Road.
Another one?
Yeah. 15.33 acres. What was that number? So, it might be easier. So, for that last one,
Mhm.
just so we have, because it's the same address, it's 161 Rollins Road is the owner's address. But it's, so the first one that we just did is map 1, lot 73. That's the 202 acres.
Okay,
Did I just do another one? Did I just hand it to you?
yes.
For 161? Or that's different, or a different number? Is it 161?
Where's the number?
On the front, there.
Yeah,
Three
that's,
address.
that's one.
Oh, 161 Clement Road, yeah.
What's
Hanson Corner
what's the
Real.
map and lot number? Is it on the front? Does it say map 1, lot, and step 2?
Map 1, lot 67.
Okay, 67. Because we got one more, so it's like, wait a minute, I didn't read this number before. Okay, so 161 Clement Road, map 1, lot 65, and it is 22 acres. Okay, couple more. We'll do this one next because they've heard this address before, 161 Clement Road. It's map 1, lot 65-3, which is part of lot 65, but subdivided out. And that is 33 acres. Oh, actually, sorry, take that back, 32.95. They've crossed it out, so 32.95 acres, just so it's official. last one. And it is 132 Clement Road. All of Clement Road is, I mean, current use here. And we have, they didn't add it all together, did they? Give me a second, because it's like fractions of lots. I'll just make sure we get the correct number all together. If I can't write down the right date, clearly I can't add numbers in my head. So. It is 26.09 acres. And that's the last one. That's it, thank you. That's the end of the red folder. We'll take out correspondence.
All right, we got a letter from the city of Dover. Purpose of this letter is to confirm the cost sharing agreement for the current repaving of a portion of Oak Street that forms part of the boundary between our communities, and to also solicit feedback for renewal of the attached winter road maintenance agreement, which is attached.
Yes, so last Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember what day it was now, sorry. George and I went over and met with Dover. I skipped over it because it was under highway here and we had to go back up. There's two things we skipped in highway, actually, I apologize. So the Oak Street paving, as we had agreed to in principle, to do half of, it's gonna be a shim overlay that they anticipate will last about 5 years. It will cost about $12,000. They don't wanna do the entire, for our portion, they don't wanna do the entire recline, which we can't afford anyways, because they're gonna have to do bridge work, and they have to tear up most of, on either end of the paving, they have to do drainage and all this, they didn't wanna do all that, spend all that money and then tear it out, which makes sense to me.
So is it both sides of the bridge? Is it both sides?
We'll get the overlay,
Yes,
the entire road
the
from
entire, okay,
from-
I was confused by that.
Broadway to Portland Ave.
Yep, okay.
We're gonna operate under the winter MOU for the time being. He has sent us, Mr. Storr sent us a copy of it. What he suggested was if there are things that we would like to add to it, we'll work with George to make sure, it's not just winter, there are a number of things on it actually, just a temporary MOU. If there are things that we want added, let him know, write it in there, and he will have his city attorney redraft it, so we don't have to pay legal expenses to have it drafted.
How come we don't have his signature on this?
What is it?
His city manager of Dover, city of Dover,
I have it
okay. It's agreement between the two, but the only
here. It
signature
could
is
have been his
around those
copy.
Okay,
We
well,
sent,
he's just making
he
a
said
copy
we
and
had
sending it to us.
we had a copy, yeah, why?
So we should
We
have
had
had
a
his
copy
signature
that
on
was
there.
signed by him because we had it in our files, but, so
Okay,
that's what that's about.
okay, so do we have to do anything on this?
What we do, I want, can you just put a note to Caroline that, have, Mike and George work on MOU? So in case there's anything he wants to have added to it, we will do that, so we don't have to pay the legal fees. They are expecting to do paving there either this week or next week, and they will give us a heads up so we can let the residents know.
MOU?
MOU. That's it. So, but it was a very productive meeting, they were very helpful. In fact, we talked a little bit about the railroads. Dealing with the trust, the crossing up on Church Street. They gave George some good contacts to talk to
Oh,
for
good.
regional people, so.
Good,
They wish us all the luck in the world because they don't think we'll be very successful with them, which whatever, but it was nice that they had, you know, actual people to talk to, so.
Hopefully we never,
They only said that because they haven't had much luck with them,
Yeah.
but.
I thought you signed this already, this is the.
Oh, this is the other thing that's on the agenda, this is the Massey letter?
Yeah.
We didn't because you had an edit, so if we're ready to send it out, it's the same.
It wasn't, the edit wasn't done, but another word was added to make that word okay.
Okay, so we
Yeah,
go with it
so,
then?
yeah.
Okay, then I'll sign it. Asking Mr. Massey to not use the transfer station and to return his permit. So when I asked the town clerk another follow-up question, and she said that the only out-of-town permit that she has issued was to Mr. Massey.
I saw
So
that, yep.
that kind of makes a little more sense to me why we would send a letter. It's like, well, if he hasn't been there, why are we sending a letter? But
Right.
now it makes a little more sense to me,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, so we have a letter from Eversource to the Office of Town Clerk, Public Service Company. Eversource Energy is hereby requesting permission to install or replace poles located in the town of Rollinsford. Enclosed is your review to find 3 copies. Petition and pole license number 61-1464 for the town of Rollinsford to review. Upon approval, please have each copy signed by proper authority, obtained. The one that says copy labeled Rollinsford and mail the remaining signed copies along with any invoice for payment to public service and enclosed self-addressed envelope.
So they're replacing 3 poles and then licensing them, so which is a good thing, so we know, so we assess them for the taxation, the poles.
Okay,
Utilities are assessed for the poles. They're on Howell Road, they're being replaced.
and how come we have to pay for them?
We don't, we just have to approve because it's in our right of way.
Oh, because it mentions if you're having payment, you send it to them, so there's no payment, right?
And after all, we don't pay anything. We're just giving permission that, allowing them to replace the pole in our, enclosed for your review, find 3 copies of the poles and license petition for the numbers. Retain this copy as labeled Rollinsford. Yeah, the Public Service Company of New Hampshire, also known as Eversource, is hereby requesting permission to install, replace poles located in town of Rollinsford. And it gives where it is for the right of way, that's all, we don't need, we don't charge anything. Where is, I don't even see where you're.
Keep on reading.
Upon approval, please have each copy of the petition and poll license signed by the proper authority, that's us. Retain the petition and poll license copy labeled Rollinsford and mail the remaining signed copies along with any invoice for payment. Okay, so we don't have, we're not paying it.
Okay.
So if, I don't know, say John Doe lives at, whatever this number is, 92-1, Howell Road, which is the right of way on Howell Road. If John Doe or Jane Doe were requesting to have the poles put in, they would have to send a check in, and they had to send
Okay.
in the permission of Rollinsford to, because it's in our right of way.
Okay.
We own the property. They can't do anything in there. We don't have to pay them anything to do it. So if you see, this 7th day of August, Eversource New England and Northern New England Telephone Operations, also known as Consolidated Communications, will be hereby granted a license to erect and maintain poles and structures with wires, cables, conduits, and devices thereon, together with sustaining, strengthening, and protecting fixtures in the public ways covered by said petition. So it's all done by code, it says so. But it's not, it doesn't, we don't get charged anything for it, so. So we just each need to sign it. And there are 3 of them. You. Eversource gets my quick signature.
Does this have to be done in front of the town clerk?
Well, if you wanna come in during business hours, you can, but.
I'm just asking,
No,
because
I'm
it's
not.
attested by the town clerk.
Yeah,
No?
she's never questioned it before, so.
Okay.
But if there's an issue, we can always ask her to come in and we'll sign it again in front of her.
Okay. Stratford Nutrition and Meals on Wheels sent us a letter. The service provided to the town of residents, 16 Rollinsford residents. On an average, we are feeding 14 Rollinsford residents per day, 3,412 nutritious meals, and 1,104 safety checks and support services. So I think this is a campaign for funds.
Reminder of why we send them a, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
the
exactly.
check is, we send them every year.
So, wanna leave it in the folder for budget season?
Yeah, you can just first stick around, yeah. What do we call it, community, assistance grant, thank you. It's a rough day today for me, sorry. Community assistance grants for 2019. Oh, there's 14, there was 14 Rollinsford residents.
16 Rollinsford
16.
residents, on average, we are feeding 14 Rollinsford residents a day.
And there's 14 people, and at least on average, that wouldn't be getting nutritious meals or getting checked on.
Yeah,
And they're elderly people, so they get checked on.
exactly. I'm gonna put it in, we need to follow up on. Request for disbursement, Suzanne, for her select board stipend of $2,800. Motion.
Hmm? For her, what, 6, 7 months, whatever, 7 months.
Yeah.
of,
Mhm.
What's the amount, 2,000?
Oh, 2,800.
For the 7 months. I don't know if the school has, do you know if the school has approved the Townsend Energy event? They did go forward with it? Okay, do we wanna?
Yeah, I'm happy to do
I
it.
didn't know.
If they
so-
did it, then yeah.
Yep, so we will go ahead and do it as well.
They said they were gonna notify you.
Okay,
We can wait till they notify us, that's fine.
well, that's up to you.
I don't care. As long as they did it.
Yes, they did.
The school
Thursday
has
night.
same proposal for the last week,
Sure,
they
if
had
they
not yet
approve it.
acted on it, so if they didn't. Okay? You sign first.
No? Perfect. Not very good heat.
This is Dr. Terry Bennett's, because we denied his,
Yes, so Dr. Bennett has, I don't wanna go into great length about this, but, so, basically, Dr. Bennett is, through his, the gentleman that he's hired, Mr. Scott of Dover, are upset that their abatement was denied. That he's disappointed that he wasn't given any opportunity to negotiate an agreement with the town or with Avatar. We were represented by Avatar, by Chad Roberge, who was awaiting information. I've looked at this, it's still not complete, I guess. Information from the property owner that never came. The deadline is passed, come and gone, and the next step then for them, if they don't like the denial of abatement, is to go to the taxing landlord. And that's what Mr. Is it Latin? When he came in last week, and that's pretty much what That's his next step too. I mean, there's no other, I mean, I think it's a little different. Mr. Lavin just wanted some information as to how, I guess it wasn't, he didn't think it was in the letter. So if he gets the information he wants, he may not appeal, but that he knows though, at least that's his next step. Then that's also this applicant, that's his next step is he has to go to the taxing board, land and board appeal, so. But we can certainly keep it in there. I know he's upset that, he believes the fair market value of the property that he is selling is less than what, we suggest his property is worth. It's, also, I think important to note that he's asking quite a bit more he's selling his property for quite a lot more than, or trying to, than what it's assessed for, so. He must think that his property is worth something, so. But that's for the taxing board, land board appeal to determine, not me.
Okay, all right.
So
you
we'll
wanna
file
put it in the file it?
We should,
File it,
no, no,
file
not
it,
not
file
the
it
file
in
like
here.
the garbage.
Don't-
We really do need to hold on to it.
Okay. Hold on, put this in the right spot. The Department of Revenue Administration, there's a note here that Suzanne to review with CK. So I'm gonna just put a note to Caroline that do we need, do you need us on that? I don't know.
Oh, this was the inventory and the modified, assessed value. I think it's, I thought they had done this, but we can leave it, yeah, ask Caroline, I mean, I can just come in and sign it if it needs to be signed.
Okay.
If we believe the numbers are correct, we just have to go through and double check that the DRA hasn't confused our little town with another little town. That's all, and they put the
I
right
think
numbers in.
this is part of that, if you, is it not?
No, no, this is this the one? Yes, it is. This does go along with it. It's all about the assessed, so this is the, yeah, very inarticulate this evening, I'm sorry. This is the assessment that the state does on our assessments. They pick, I think it's like 6 or 7 random properties to make sure that they're actually accurate, so. It's signed off by Lionel McEachran, who is our DRA contact. He's sort of the person we work with at DRA, so. It met standards, so so it's either did not meet standards or did meet standards, and we've met the standards, so. But yeah, we'll keep it together, because they need to stay together, so it needs to be signed off, and so if Caroline has reviewed the numbers, that's what Suzanne was concerned about. So.
Okay, alright. We approved that survey last week, right?
Yep, it just hasn't
So-
been taken out, I guess.
Okay, maybe we should date it that we signed it. You did okay,
Yeah,
and then I put to pay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put,
last week's date.
last
8/6,
week's, with-
yeah.
yeah. So then she can take care of that.
The Oak Street survey,
Yeah.
well, the placing of the monuments.
Did we do anything on the Shipyard Association last week, or oh yeah, there.
We did.
Please process.
It was only $100, so I figured I didn't have to worry about where to find that in the budget. I hope. That was before I found out about the insurance, so. The next time the brat comes knocking, we wanna be a member of that.
Yeah.
We wanna be a member of it, so it's only $100, so.
Meet with the tax collector at the meeting to discuss, what was this about? This is the taxpayer inventory, that's the one we said we're gonna do away with. So, note to say we're gonna do away with
We
it?
don't need to, we're not ordering this. Thank you, but no thank you.
Okay, so
So, yeah.
passed on 8/13 to not do 2019 inventories, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I need to be put, this is our follow-up. Oh, can I just destroy this? This is the same letter, so I can destroy it because we took it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, fine, thank you.
And this is gonna be processed. This will be processed.
So one side of that folder is good to go and the other one is hold or?
This is items that need our follow-up,
Oh, perfect.
and then this is done to be processed.
Sounds like a good system.
All right, I think I'm done.
That's it?
What was this?
Okay, so that's what's not ready for tonight, that's the budget. These were, so, just started to take a look and thought you might want to like to see as well, expenses year to date is up to date, including the checks printed today. All right, well, I didn't see that note. I thought she said she hadn't gotten to it, so. I'll take a look at this then, and then, we're not gonna do it this week anyway, so, if we're gonna spend any more money, I think we need to figure out, reassess whether or not we're gonna be able to extend the administrative support. But again, in light of the insurance issue that was brought to light today,
So we don't know what happened there?
my understanding is that it was not based on, it was based on a assumption that rates wouldn't change as much and we would find it in the budget anyways, even if they did. And that's what we're doing. So, yeah, so it went from, where is it? So, alright, so the projected shortfall is actually $9,109, but, so the $3,000 that I had quoted earlier was, Caroline had come up with a few scenarios where we could find 6,000 right now without having to affect without having to go to the police chief and the fire chief, basically, and another 3,000 might need to be found. I wanted to review those numbers first, but here they are, I guess you did give them to me for tonight, but again, I'm not gonna have time to digest any of this and talk about it in a meeting. I'm just looking at all the side notes, so I'd like to hold off until next week so we can actually have a chance to fully digest and do this in a meaningful way.
Okay.
But yes, so it's $9,100 problem.
Was it, well, you probably don't. Was it a change in plan? Or, okay,
Not that I'm aware of.
okay. Was that-
So, we don't have anything else on our side of the table? Any input?
I have something related to this.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, with budget season coming up and all the extra duties that Caroline has to take over, shouldn't you be paying her now, at least? And then if you don't have the money for the extra, cut it off in November, December.
That's a good suggestion. I have met with her, and at least for this week and maybe into next week, we might not need to do it, and we'll need to reassess with the increased duties. Oh, that will come with budgeting, but she believes she's in an okay place right now. But we have talked about it, because I said we're not gonna be ready for tonight. So, but thank you for the suggestion and the input.
Do you know if, there is something that's coming up very soon, and that's the revised help me, the revised,
What?
estimated, revenue that has to be, has to be done, who's gonna do that?
I am.
Okay, I'm taking I signed up to do a webinar, the end of the month.
Perfect. So you can
Don't
have
mean
it
I'm
after
gonna
that.
be, don't mean
You can
I'm
have
gonna
it
be
after
ready
that,
now,
but, so,
cause
Yeah.
I don't have any idea about that side of it, so I am gonna take a webinar.
so yeah, that's one of the things we need to work on in the next, couple weeks, is
Okay.
entering in the revised revenue estimates for the town.
Yeah,
That has to be put into the DRA portal,
correct.
and it has to be done,
Is that what Suzanne sent
by
us?
us.
Is that what Suzanne sent us, the 3 emails? Was
Yes,
that,
That's,
okay.
those are our sign-on stuff.
okay, all right,
So the staff can prepare stuff like that, from what I've checked. But by law, the actual, we have to actually push send.
okay,
We have to push go. The staff can actually, in any town, can enter the information in for the assessors, the select board.
Mhm.
But we have to be the ones that actually hit enter, which is
Okay.
something I know, but, so I'm gonna work on it and get it ready.
okay,
Should be fun. The, spoiler alert, revenues are down, because of the, police details.
Mhm.
So, I'll work with Bob and see what his best guess is gonna be, so, anyway, good times. Any other community input? Seeing none, I wish you all a good evening, it's about 3 minutes to 8. 2 minutes to 8, close enough.
all righty.
You guys look like you haven't been having fun the last couple of weeks.
Should I just close this thing? You do your thing.